The ugliest thing I have ever seen. So I thought that I've seen the ugliest thing in my life. You know, I've seen people murdered. I've seen gunshots all over the place. I've seen Uzis discharged into populations, right? And more, right? I thought I saw ugliness. Thought I knew it, right? And what I realized is, one, you know, some of the same ugliness that this person shared with me was ugliness that I've known myself, right? Got a big nose, right? My voice isn't exactly the way that people think it should be. I walk funny. People say these things, right? It's all good. Because self-hate is the absolute most ugly thing that we do. So anyway, here's the story. I go to a pizza shop in South Warren, right? There's this man, his name is Koo, comes in, has these deer, right? These brass deer. He's like, "Are you a deer hunter?" "No, I hunt men." And he's like, "What?" "Yeah, hunt men." And he's like, "Oh." And then the secondary thing is, there's a bronze deer. I'm going to sell them to you. All right. I don't want to buy them. Or I'll buy them for $2 because that's about what they're worth in scrap. I'm trying to get some gas, right? Man has hard-working hands. Man has worked harder than most people will ever know in their whole life. At least his hands tell me that story. Anyway, so we're sitting there. I tell him that, you know, China, deer are signs of wealth and prosperity. I'm not sure about this at the time, right? Have feeling I have some knowledge about it. I go and Google it, verifies it, right? And so I didn't give him the money. I didn't give him the money not because I didn't have the money. I didn't give him the money because I didn't want to give it to him. My friend Bill Bracco taught me that. That has something to do with suffering, right? Suffering of oneself. And currently I have a couple things I need to take care of before I can want to give in this particular situation. But I did say, well, okay, I won't give you money for gas. And we joked, you know, we joked about this or that. And I was like, maybe you should siphon gas. And, you know, he asked me if I ever went to prison. I was like, no, I really don't ever plan on going either. The only way I'll go is for political crimes, right? Which everybody should be willing to do. Because at that point, if it's truly that big of a political issue, it's going to cost you more than your life, right? When it's a huge political issue, it costs everyone something, right? We all give up something in those sorts of situations. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, I'll give you I'll give you a piece of pizza, right? And then he's sitting there with me. He's like, when did you order this pizza? You know, I'm like, I ordered this pizza and I'll sit here to the end of the universe. Be patient, right? And I would have given him 2 because he talked about, you know, the fact that he had this wife or girlfriend that also was in the vehicle. It really would have been no big deal, right? But he said the most awful thing to me. He said, you know, I hate people that my people, you know, and not me, but his people are worthless. And I was like, how could you say that to me? Don't say that to me. And in that moment, I felt him. And I felt the ugliness, you know. I was like, no, man. You can't say that. You can say lots of other things, but I'm not going to accept that. I said poverty is the reason that your people are having such a hard time. Now, poverty is very complex, right? Honestly, certain poverties come from the inside of oneself, because the earth itself will provide you with clay brick. If you have nothing but the earth itself below your feet will provide you with clay brick, if you know that that's available. The earth itself will provide you with nurturing humus, if you know it exists. The earth itself will provide you with water from the air, if you know that it exists, and if you know how to then harness it. So our wealth has to do with something more than a piece of fabric, right? That people decide how much of it's going to be printed, and then they give it to banks and then hope that somehow it's going to get to you. Okay? Better to trade with your friend and neighbor, better to build the wealth in this way, better to share knowledge, share truth, and share love, because you build true wealth in these ways. You solve real problems in these ways. So I want to give you wealth, and that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you wealth because you have it. I want to give you self-care because, you know what, it's an ugly thing to hate your nose because it's big, or to hate the way you speak because other people don't like it, or any number of other things about yourself that you did not decide about you. And yeah, you can go get a boob job, or you can get a nose job, but it doesn't change you. The self-image within yourself, until you start doing that self-work, your self-worth doesn't improve. Do the self-work so the self-worth can improve. And then if you still feel like getting a boob job, or you still feel like doing those things because you've decided them, not because you hate yourself, not because you're angry at yourself, not because you're angry with society, not because you're hurt, but because you're okay, because you're happy, because you're healthy, then make those decisions. It's fun. But I'm not going to accept what the man said. I can't accept it. I can't accept it for me. I can't accept it for you. I won't accept it, because I know that self-hate is the ugliest thing, because it creates so many other problems. Cure the disease, not the symptoms.